If I could go back to high school or even college, and I know some people say it's bad to wish you could go back in time because you can't. It's impossible. It's a waste of time. But I'm going to entertain it for a few minutes. If I could go back to high school or even college, there's one class I wish someone had taught me. Not algebra, not history, not economics, not public speaking. Those are all, I guess you could say, invaluable. But there's one skill that quietly influences every one of those subjects: learning how to think. Not what to think, but how to think. Looking back, I don't think that most of us were ever intentionally taught the difference. And it's changed the way I approach almost everything. For years, I thought learning meant collecting answers, read another book, watch another documentary, listen to another lecture, and eventually, one day, I would know enough. But somewhere along the way, I realized that answers have a shelf life. The world changes, technology changes, history gets re examined, new evidence appears. Think about that. Even think about YouTube. When the gurus tell you how to do something or what needs to be done or what the trends are, that's the answer, right? At least that's the answer at that time. You could spend years chasing the new answer instead of sticking with something that is eternal, instead of thinking about or knowing what to think or acting on what they taught you to think, learning how to think, and then maybe you could make some better long-term decisions. At least maybe I could make some better long-term decisions. If all I've done is memorize conclusions, then I'm pretty much stuck. But if I know how those conclusions were reached, I can keep learning for the rest of my life. And that was a huge shift for me. One habit I've developed is forcing myself to slow down before I form an opinion. Years ago, if I saw a headline, I'd often react immediately. Now, I ask myself a few questions first. Who wrote this? Where did the information come from? What's missing? Is there another side to this story? And I've noticed something interesting. The longer I wait before reaching a conclusion, the more accurate my conclusions usually become. And that's not because I'm smarter, it's because I'm giving myself time to think. One thing I appreciate about the Black Logic method is that it's incredibly practical. Observe, investigate, understand, evaluate, apply. It's not just useful for history or politics. I use it in everyday life. When I'm making a business decision, when I'm trying to understand someone's perspective, when I'm reading a book, or even when I'm evaluating my own assumptions, becomes less of a framework and more of a habit. But why does all of this matter? But here's something that I've come to believe. Most bad decisions don't happen because people are unintelligent. They're stupid. That's not why people make bad decisions. They happen because people skip steps. We observe something and immediately evaluate it. We never investigate. We never seek context. We never ask whether we're missing something important. Our minds love shortcuts. Sometimes those shortcuts are helpful. Sometimes they might keep you alive. Sometimes they're expensive. Sometimes they're very, very expensive. I want to be honest about something. I don't always get this right. There are times when I react too quickly, times when I assume I understand something before I really do, times when I realize later I should have asked more questions. But here's the difference. Now I notice it. And once you notice it, you can begin correcting it. That's growth. Not perfection, but growth. Here's something you can try today. The next time you hear something that immediately makes you angry or immediately makes you excited, don't respond right away. Take a pause. Ask yourself, what information would I need before I could honestly say that I understand this? That one question has saved me from making a lot of unnecessary mistakes. I think learning how to think may be one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself, because no one can predict the future. No one has all the answers. But if you develop a reliable method for learning, you never stop growing. And to me, that's far more valuable than simply having another opinion. Thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I'll see you in the next conversation.